Welcome to Dogs Info. And for almost all that time, they quietly wait for the same simple things. Things we could easily give them every single day. Yet, we rarely even think about them. In this video, we are breaking down 15 of those exact things. Each one will take you just a few moments, but to your dog, it means an entire lifetime of pure happiness. And make sure to stay until the very end, because the most powerful soulful desire that your dog has been silently guarding since the very first day they stepped into your home will be revealed at the final spot. 1. To claim the exact spot you just warmed up. You stand up from your favorite armchair for just a single minute to grab a fresh cup of coffee. And the moment you return, you find your dog already tightly curled up right there, explicitly occupying the exact corner where your body heat was just lingering. Your heart melts. You do not have the nerve to push them off, and you end up awkwardly squeezing yourself right next to them. This is not a random coincidence, and it is definitely not a display of dominance or disrespect. It is actually one of the greatest, quietest joys of a dog's entire life. A warm surface saturated heavily with your personal scent represents the two most valuable emotional and physical stimuli in a dog's world, completely unified into a single point. Dogs are natural heat seekers. Their baseline body temperature is higher than ours. And warmth is an authentic source of deep neurological comfort for them, not just a basic physical convenience. When you inject your personal pheromones into that warmth left behind on a blanket, a cushion, or a sweater, you create the ultimate biological cocktail of physical safety and emotional connection that a dog's brain simply cannot resist. To give them this joy, you should deliberately leave fresh nests for them from time to time. Leave the fleece blanket you were just using on the couch, or casually drop your worn hoodie onto the rug. Your dog will locate it within seconds and happily spend hours wrapped in your leftover presents. 2. To receive a special wellness herb once a week. Most dog owners have never even tried this yet. Dogs secretly look forward to it their entire lives. While cat parents are famous for using catnip, many dog parents do not realize that dogs have their own equivalent of a sensory celebration. Natural dried herbs like anise seed, chamomile, or valerian root can act as a profound emotional and mental stimulant for canines. For the vast majority of dogs, a small pinch of canine safe anise seed or a specially formulated herbal scent sachet is the absolute equivalent of a major holiday. Upon smelling it, they will joyfully roll around on the floor, sneeze with excitement, rub their faces against the rug, and eventually drift off into a state of blissful relaxation for a solid hour. This reaction is a form of pure, unadulterated sensory pleasure. The aromatic compounds bind directly to their highly sensitive olfactory receptors, triggering an immediate cascade of positive chemical endorphins throughout their nervous system. It is entirely safe, completely non-addictive, and carries absolutely no negative health side effects. It is essentially a legal natural canine celebration that costs next to nothing but your willingness to set it up. You can easily purchase organic anise seed or calming chamomile at a local herb shop. Stuff it securely inside a small canvas toy and present it to your dog once a week. It gives them a magnificent break from the monotony of daily life, offering a burst of pure euphoria that completely resets their mood. 3. To squeeze into a space that is obviously too small. You bring a large cardboard shipping box into the living room, unpack your delivery, and leave the empty box on the floor for just a few minutes. Before you know it, your dog is actively trying to force their entire body into it, cramming themselves into a tight perimeter that was clearly never designed for their physical dimensions. Their chin is resting awkwardly on the cardboard edge. Their paws are tucked tightly beneath their chest, and their expression is one of absolute unshakable contentment. This hilarious behavior is not a meaningless whim. It is a profound instinctual comfort that your dog constantly craves. A compact enclosed space stimulates a canine's brain on multiple primitive levels simultaneously. Having physical barriers touching their flanks and back provides an immediate sense of absolute security. In the wild, an enclosed den with solid, impenetrable walls is the greatest asset a canine can possess when they need to let their guard down and rest. Furthermore, cardboard is an exceptional insulator that traps and radiates their own body heat right back to them. The physical compression of the tight walls against their muscles actually lowers their systemic anxiety through tactile feedback operating on the exact same neurological mechanism as a weighted blanket or a specialized compression vest. Instead of immediately throwing your shipping boxes into the recycling bin, leave them out on the floor for a few days. Give your dog the simple, beautiful joy of a temporary personal fortress. 4. To demolish a crinkly, noisy paper bag. You walk through the front door after a trip to the store. Set a large empty paper shopping bag down on the living room rug. And within a single minute, you hear a loud, chaotic rustling sound. Your dog has completely submerged themselves inside the bag, tail wagging furiously, digging at the corners and playfully attacking the structural creases. To you, it is just trash. To your dog, that paper bag is a high-stakes cinematic adventure. A paper bag perfectly combines three elements that drive a dog's predatory brain wild: an enclosed tunnel, absolute structural novelty, and a highly specific auditory feedback loop. The sharp crinkling sound of thick paper heavily mimics the exact rustling noises made by small rodents or prey moving through dry brush and tall grass. This acoustic trigger instantly ignites their natural prey drive and exploratory curiosity without requiring any active participation or effort from your side. The dark, tight interior provides a perfect blind from which they can pretend to launch a stealthy ambush. Additionally, the natural earthy scent of raw paper pulp is highly engaging and pleasant to a dog's nose, completely unlike the toxic, sterile chemical smell of synthetic plastic bags. All you need to do is carefully cut the handles off the paper bag so your dog cannot accidentally catch their neck or limbs in the loops and leave it on the floor. It is a completely free 5-star interactive toy that satisfies their deepest evolutionary instincts. 5. To bask undisturbed in a sunbeam all morning. As the morning progresses, a bright, intense shaft of sunlight pierces through the living room window, casting a perfectly warm golden glowing rectangle onto the hardwood floor. Your dog notices this immediately and migrates toward it, adjusting their physical position millimeter by millimeter across the room as the sun slowly tracks across the sky over the course of several hours. Many well-meaning dog owners do not realize how crucial this daily ritual is for their pet's biological well-being, and they frequently interrupt it by drawing the blinds, closing the curtains, or placing large pieces of furniture directly in the path of the light. Direct solar warmth is not just a luxury for a dog. It is a fundamental pillar of their physical health. Under the direct influence of natural solar radiation, a dog's body optimizes its metabolic processes. The dry ambient heat helps dry out any moisture trapped in their thick undercoat, preventing skin infections and naturally deodorizing their fur. More importantly, the intense light directly regulates their pineal gland, stimulating the healthy production of melatonin and serotonin, the core hormones responsible for managing sleep cycles, immune function, and overall emotional stability. A dog who is allowed to bask regularly in the morning sun is measurably calmer, happier, and physically more resilient. Make it a priority to keep at least one sunlit window completely unobstructed every morning. Place a soft, supportive orthopedic mat or a plush rug directly within that solar sweet spot, creating a dedicated wellness sanctuary that your dog will utilize with immense gratitude every single day. 6. To hear the exact harmonic frequency of your keys. You step up to your front door after a grueling day at work, slide your metal key into the deadbolt and turn it. Before the door even begins to crack open, you can already hear the frantic, joyful shifting of paws on the other side of the wood. Your dog is already waiting right there, breathing heavily through the door gap tail, thumping rhythmically against the wall. Most people take this daily greeting completely for granted, assuming it is just a basic reaction to a door opening. But in reality, your dog has been actively listening for that specific sound all day long, and its occurrence is the absolute peak milestone of their entire 24-hour cycle. A dog's auditory threshold is so intensely refined that they can isolate the specific harmonic frequency of your keychain from a massive distance, often identifying your approach while you are still walking up the driveway or stepping out of the elevator down the hall. Even more profoundly, their brain memorizes the unique physical choreography of your return, the exact cadence of your footsteps, the specific weight of your stride, the precise rhythm of how you insert the key, and the unique friction of the door handle moving under your hand. Each of these auditory signals sets off a beautiful compounding chain reaction of anticipation within their nervous system, flooding their brain with joyful dopamine long before they actually lay eyes on you. When you cross that threshold, honor that long patient wait. Do not immediately ignore them to check the mail or drop your bags. Kneel down. Greet them with a calm, steady voice, and let them lean into your hands. It is the simple, profound closure to their days-long vigil. 7. To taste a piece of real unseasoned meat from your hands. You are standing at the kitchen counter preparing dinner, chopping up raw chicken breasts or slicing a piece of lean beef, and you feel a pair of intense, unblinking eyes burning into your side. Your dog is sitting completely frozen at your feet. Saliva slowly pooling at the corners of their mouth, staring up at the cutting board with an intensity that borders on religious devotion. A tiny clean piece of real unseasoned meat is a culinary and biological event that most domestic dogs spend their entire lives quietly yearning for. While modern commercial kibble and canned wet foods are scientifically balanced to keep your dog alive, they are ultimately highly processed, mass-reduced approximations of a natural canine diet. Dogs are facultative carnivores, meaning their entire digestive architecture, jaw structure, and metabolic pathways evolved specifically to process fresh whole animal proteins. Receiving a piece of real meat provides them with an immense explosion of authentic flavor and a natural structural texture that triggers deep satisfaction in their jaws. You do not need to feed them an entire steak to make them happy. In fact, large amounts of rich food can upset their stomachs. The key is consistency and safety. Keep a tiny portion of meat completely separate during your meal prep. Absolutely no salt, no garlic, no onions, no pepper, and no butter. A small piece of boiled chicken breast, a thin slice of lean turkey, or a single bite of unseasoned cooked beef given once or twice a week is all it takes. This tiny gesture introduces magnificent biological variety into their routine, making them feel like an actual canine processing real food rather than a captive animal eating the exact same dry pellets out of a plastic bowl day after day. 8. To climb into your lap and know they won't be pushed away. Your dog approaches your chair with slow, deliberate steps, stops, and looks up at you with wide, pleading eyes. They gently place one paw on your knee, calculate the distance, and smoothly hoist their entire body onto your lap, shifting their weight until they can rest their chin directly over your thigh. The single most critical variable in this exact moment is your immediate physical reaction. Your dog is quietly praying that you will not flinch, that you will not sigh with annoyance, and that you will not immediately push them back down to the floor because you are worried about dog hair on your clothes or because you are in the middle of typing an email. The opportunity to lie completely undisturbed on your lap for 30 uninterrupted minutes is something your dog will willingly wait for through a grueling, lonely day. An immobile, warm human body saturated with familiar pheromones is the absolute pinnacle of comfort in the canine universe. When your dog nests on your lap, they are absorbing the rhythmic rise and fall of your chest from your breathing, the steady calming thud of your heartbeat, and the deep soothing acoustic vibrations of your vocal cords when you speak. This multi-sensory immersion creates a state of total physiological safety, allowing your dog's hypervigilant nervous system to completely disarm. They slip into the deepest, most restorative stage of REM sleep possible, a level of profound rest they can never fully achieve when sleeping alone on the floor. If your dog initiates a lap snuggle, try your best to lean into it. Let the emails wait. Put down your phone and let them complete their rest cycle naturally. It is a massive deposit into their emotional bank account. 9. To have 15 minutes of pure uninterrupted focus without a screen. You sit down on the living room sofa. Deliberately slide your smartphone deep into your pocket. Close your laptop screen. Toss the television remote to the opposite side of the room and turn your entire physical posture directly toward your dog. You look into their eyes, speak to them softly, and use both of your hands to map the contours of their head and back for 15 solid minutes. They are the absolute center of your universe, the most important presence in the entire room, completely free from digital distraction. In our frantic screen-saturated modern lives, this type of raw, unfragmented attention is an extreme rarity. And that is precisely why dogs look forward to these rare windows with an intense quiet desperation. Dogs are absolute geniuses at reading human focus and intention. When you casually pet your dog with one hand while your eyes are locked onto a scrolling social media feed on your phone, your dog detects that emotional fragmentation instantly. The contact feels hollow, mechanical, and half-hearted to their sensitive perception. But the exact moment you disconnect from the digital matrix and lock your mental focus entirely onto them, your dog registers the shift immediately. Their muscles visibly soften. Their breathing slows down to a steady rhythm. And they begin to blink at you with heavy, relaxed eyelids. This high-quality focused engagement means infinitely more to your dog's psychological health than hours of you simply occupying the same room as a background ghost. You only need to dedicate 15 minutes a day to this screen-free connection, ideally at the exact same hour every evening. It provides your dog with the profound validation that they are truly known, deeply seen, and unconditionally loved rather than just being a chore that you feed and walk out of. Habit. Tend to experience a masterfully executed high-stakes hunt. The vast majority of dog owners execute play routines in a highly formal, casual, and ultimately boring manner. They pick up a tennis ball, lazily toss it down the hallway a couple of times while checking their watch, rub the dog's ears, and assume the exercise requirement has been successfully fulfilled. But your dog is not looking for a mechanical chore. Their brain is quietly screaming for a masterfully executed, high-stakes hunt that involves tracking, stalking, a thrilling chase, a tactical capture, and a triumphant victory. When a true structured predatory simulation happens, it is an absolute intellectual and physical festival for a canine's mind. A dog's entire cognitive and neurological architecture is evolutionarily calibrated around the predatory motor pattern. Without a healthy, regular outlet to manifest this sequence, their mental state remains permanently unfinished, leading to built-up frustration, phantom anxieties, and destructive household behaviors. An authentic play session requires you to act as a dynamic, engaging theater director. If you are using a toy, you must make that toy behave like real terrified prey. It should not just fly directly into their face. It should sneak around the edges of the couch, freeze when the dog looks closely, dart rapidly away behind a doorframe, and rush across the floor in a panic. This requires 10 to 20 minutes of your active energy, utilizing high-quality flirt poles, thick tug ropes, or deeply textured hide-and-seek toys. Crucially, you must always allow the hunt to conclude with a successful capture. Let your dog slam their jaws around the toy. Shake it violently to satisfy their natural instincts and carry it around the room like a grand prize. To fully seal the psychological loop immediately, hand them a high-value treat right after they kill the toy, simulating the rewarding act of consuming the prey they just masterfully hunted down. 11.2. Inhale a torrent of raw information through a window. You walk over to the living room window, slide the glass open, and ensure the thick reinforced safety screen is securely locked into place. Within a fraction of a second, your dog appears on the sill, stretching their neck forward, flaring their nostrils wildly and closing their eyes in absolute bliss as they catch the cool outdoor breeze. To a domestic dog confined within the perimeter of a house or an apartment, the raw air drifting in from the outside world is a magnificent panoramic window into an entirely different universe. Most owners have no earthly idea how deeply their pets look forward to this simple sensory event. A dog's perception of reality is primarily constructed through olfactory data. Yet the internal air of a home remains stagnant, predictable, and chemically sterile, smelling of the same detergents, furniture polishes, and human residence day after day. When you open that window, a massive torrent of fresh, highly complex data floods into the room. Your dog is instantly reading the molecular signatures of passing birds, the damp decay of distant autumn leaves, the scent trails of neighborhood animals, the electric charge of a gathering rainstorm, and the unique dust profiles of the street below. To their massive olfactory processing center? This breeze is the literal equivalent of a human opening a beautifully written morning newspaper or scrolling through a high-velocity global newsfeed. It is a profound form of cognitive enrichment that exercises their brain and satisfies their natural curiosity. Make it an unshakable habit to secure your windows with heavy-duty canine safety screens and open them up for at least 20 minutes every day, allowing your dog to safely read the beautiful, chaotic stories of the outside world using the unmatched power of their nose. 12. To wrestle in battle with a massive, substantial toy. If you take a quick look inside the average dog's toy basket, you will typically find a collection of small plush plushies, tiny squeaky balls, and delicate rubber rings that easily bounce under the sofa. While these toys are fine for a brief moment of distraction, what your dog's body actually craves is a massive, highly substantial toy. Something large and heavy enough for them to physically wrestle with. Grip. With maximum jaw force. Wrap all 4 of their limbs around and violently thrash against the floor. A long, heavily stuffed reinforced canvas modern toy is something many dogs spend years quietly waiting for. In the wild ancestral landscape, canines would frequently tackle prey resources that were significantly larger than a basic field mouse. When dealing with a substantial catch, a dog will naturally drop to their side, lock their front paws around the object to anchor it. Use their powerful rear legs to rapidly kick and scratch at the center mass, and use their neck muscles to violently thrash it side to side to break it down. This specific high-intensity motor pattern is hardwired incredibly deep within their genetic code. And when they are denied a physical object large enough to absorb this specific type of physical output, a massive amount of compressed physical and predatory energy remains trapped inside their muscular skeletal system, manifesting as restlessness or random bursts of hyperactive behavior. A long, thick, heavily double-stitched canvas toy allows your dog to fully execute this intense physical release. The moment you present them with a toy of this magnitude, you will see a profound behavioral shift. They will lunge at it, throw themselves onto their back on the rug, grip it with an absolute vice-like hold, kick at it furiously with their hind legs, and let out deep satisfied growls. It is a spectacular necessary physical outlet that leaves them beautifully exhausted and completely at peace. 13. To sleep through the dark. Night in your exact bed, you prepare for sleep, turn off the bedside lamps, crawl beneath the heavy duvet, and within a few quiet moments, you hear the soft rhythmic tip-tap of paws on the floor. Your dog gently leaps onto the mattress, navigates to the foot of the bed, circles 3 times, and heavily drops their entire body weight against your feet or calves, letting out a long, shuddering sigh of pure relief as the house falls silent. Many owners allow this, while others strictly banish their dogs to a separate room or a crate downstairs. But you must understand that from a behavioral standpoint, sleeping in the exact same bed as you is one of the highest, most sacred forms of intimacy, safety, and pack cohesion that exists in their entire psychological world. To an animal, sleep is the absolute ultimate state of physical vulnerability. When an organism closes its eyes to sleep, it loses its primary sensory defense mechanisms, leaving it completely open to a surprise attack from a predator. Therefore, a dog will only choose a sleeping location where they feel an absolute 100% guarantee of environmental security. Choosing to sleep directly against your body means they recognize you as a definitive source of protective power and an inseparable member of their primary family unit to the entire world. During these hours in of shared rest, canine mothers bring fresh food back to the den and make very specific muffled vocalizations to call their hungry pups over to eat. Your physical body heat wild alpha and your unique will proudly parade a successful hard-won catch to the rest of the pack to show off their prowess. Immersion builds in your domestic dog unspoken layer of absolute trust and emotional security they have cannot be replicated by any training technique or waking activity. That intense whining is a massive overflow of immense psychological excitement. Share your bed. It is a biological demand for you to look at them and acknowledge their personal orthopedic bed directly next to your pillow on the floor, ensuring they can still hear your steady breathing through the vulnerable. If you ignore them, they will keep pacing the living room until you finally validate their stark radical novelty in their everyday territory. Speaking of ancient wild wooden dining, our next fascinating behavior move it to an entirely unexpected corner of the hallway. Slide around their water console 3 feet to the left. Number 3. Why they leave a large hard-shelled travel suitcase wide open on the living room rug after a trip. Your dog has a pristine bowl or bring a large textured perfectly clean water sitting right in the kitchen. Leave it on the welcome mat. But instead of just leaning down and drinking it normally like a civilized pet, your dog will approach the area with high curiosity, or aggressively dig at the water, stretching their neck completely out soaking your kitchen floor in the process, and meticulously mapping the change. It seems completely counterproductive and these highly annoying, radical injections of absolute novelty into their highly familiar everyday environment are exactly what keep your dog's mind sharp, alive, and intensely engaged. In the
harsh
vast majority of a domestic dog's life incredibly hot within a highly static, unchanging the water lying underneath the surface remains wonderfully cool. They know every single floorboard, every piece of furniture, naturally and every corner of your home by heart. Streams to force the cool water to the structural environment remains completely frozen day after day. Another massive reason processing brain can slowly fall into a state of dogs do not have perfect high-definition close-up vision, turning their daily reality crystal clear water sitting in a shiny metal or ceramic bowl can be incredibly hard for their eyes to slowly dim. Properly register. When you deliberately alter the landscape, by aggressively even by moving a single chair or introducing an object helping from their brain perfectly gauge the exact depth and surface level so they don't accidentally inhale water up their minor household alteration is a grand event on the scale of an international expedition. It challenges their spatial memory, fires up their analytical scent receptors and gives survival tactics them a safe, thrilling mystery to solve right inside their own home. Their environment perfectly make it a habit to routinely disrupt the monotony of your living space. Number 4, unexpected why they shred cardboard into a million pieces, giving them a beautiful, you leave an empty delivery box on the living room floor, and within 20 minutes it looks like an industrial paper shredder just exploded. Absolutely the fascinating thing is your dog doesn't even your dog is lying quietly on their favorite mat across the room, staring off into space or resting their chin on their paws, pieces and completely disengaged from any active. They do this with a level of intense manic focus quiet and sheer joy that they happen to pivot their head and their eyes seamlessly lock into yours. Why do they love this so much? You are not holding a bag of treats. It all comes down to the complete you are not holding their leash. Sequence. You are not issuing a stern command, bite, dissect, and you are not calling their name. Modern pampered dogs you are simply holding a long, incredibly soft, warm gaze that communicates a single powerful message perfectly and safely satisfies the dissect phase. I know you. The unique texture and I am profoundly grateful that you exist in my life. Physical resistance in that exact split second, something monumental happens within your dogs. It provides emotional necessary tactile feedback, something beautiful that they have been patiently waiting for their entire existence. Ancient chewing instincts. This is the absolute deepest, furthermore, most sacred and most invisible joy of all the points we have broken down today. It is something that cannot be bought at a store and it cannot be manufactured through artificial training methods. Burn off anxious energy. Your dog doesn't understand the abstract human concept of a gift. As long as they do not understand the monetary value of a luxury item and they cannot process our spoken declarations of love in a human. But while shredding cardboard completely satisfies their inner wild animal, but they understand the energy of a soft loving gaze with absolute clarity because eye contact is the core ancient language of their soul. That perfectly explains our next very sneaky habit. When a human leader looks at a dog with pure unburdened warmth without demanding a chore or expecting a behavior, the dog receives the ultimate biological validation they crave from the moment they are born and spot on the couch to the absolute confirmation that they are valuable, 3 seconds later, and an essential part of the family unit. Curled up exactly where you recent veterinary neuroscience has proven that dogs form psychological precision, as if they were attachments to their primary owners that perfectly mirror the exact neurological attachment models found between human infants and their biological parents. They were. A soft, unconditional gaze is the primary umbilical cord through which this attachment is continuously dominant or bossy by nourished, sustained, and kept alive. That specific warm spot on our dogs give us their entire lives asking for nothing but our presence and valuable resources in your dog's entire world. Let us build a beautiful monument to this unmatched world-changing devotion in our concentrated scent. Please share your heart. Dogs actively seek out warmth to efficiently regulate their body temperature. Comment down below and tell us your loyal dog's name. You just naturally heated up to 98 degrees. We want to know which of these 15 profound desires your furry best friend displays every single day. But more importantly, do they sprint to steal your cushion is now heavily saturated with your unique pheromones, or do they heavily lean their body against your specific scent while you make your morning coffee? Safety, security, read through the stories of others and let us celebrate the magnificent shadows that walk beside us every day. They are quite literally wrapping. Thanks for watching and like and subscribe, share please.